Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting stage show you've ever
Yeah, blow it up.
Yeah.
You know what? In the video, our new intro video, we are all murdering and killing. And you know, that's exactly what we're going to do tonight on this show. We are going to kill it.
We're blasting those SJWs.
and we're gonna choke ourselves to see. Oh, sorry, wrong show.
Oh, that's the wrong stream, Billy. That's
Sorry,
the other
wrong
one.
stream. Hello. Oh, God. I thought I was on the
Private chat.
Mariner stream.
That's
Oh,
your
all right,
stubby
wait, hey
stream.
Billy, let's go off the rails real quick. Let's see the artwork that you did last night on the Kings.
Dude, come on, bro.
You already showed it. Don't play.
I don't even remember drawing that damn thing.
Oh,
Here you
that
go.
I believe.
I remember posing for it. Now
Yeah.
I'm
No nipples, no belly button.
All right, show the bent trident.
The bench.
That's my favorite. The bent
Oh, I figured,
trident.
why
Oh,
would he
move
have
it back,
string
Billy, move it
trident
back.
If it comes from the sea? No, actually, I was doing. I'm like, oh man, I gotta find my ruler. Where's my fuck it?
Actually, yeah, water does distort things a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're looking at him
look at the
underwater.
waves. Come on, look at that. You're getting seasick, Aaron.
I know I'm gonna barf for a variety of reasons.
Oh, thanks a lot.
All right, you guys. Well, I looked. I couldn't find what we were planning earlier. So if you guys want to just wing that, but as far as what Grok has given me for this day in comic book history, which is how we start these shows now, the great Fox or Gardner Fox, 1911 was born on this day.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah. So Fox was a key figure in the golden age of comics, creating iconic characters like the Flash, the Sandman for DC, and contributing significantly to the development of the DC universe. So happy birthday, Gardner Fox. And
Didn't he
if
write
that-
Hawkman too?
it
Yeah.
doesn't say that, but yeah, I always think of Gardner Fox as the Hawkman guy. Yeah.
And he wrote early he wrote that early Detective Comics vampire story with Batman. The one with Dahlia and the monk, you know, like Detective, I don't know, let's see, 20 might have been Detective 29 and 30. He
Okay.
came out in- yeah, that's like, you know, Batman 2 and 3, you know, so
I
to speak.
vaguely remember those issues.
Yeah. Yeah, he
You know
wrote
what
that
was
vampire
cool
story.
is DC did some kind of, you know how they with their movies they put out these little videos, and they had Gardner Fox. I think is he still alive? He can't be. Right?
1911. Is he?
Who am I thinking though? When did Gardner Fox die? It doesn't say.
Well, he was born in 1911. I don't think he's still.
Yeah, he'd be 100 in 2011.
He was born in
Yeah.
1911. Holy shit.
Yeah, maybe it was just a tribute, and they were talking about him a lot in one of those documentaries. So I thought that was pretty cool. Who's the guy that wrote those Justice Leagues in the 70s with Dick Dillon as the penciler? What was that guy's name?
In the 70s, it was Len Wein.
No, was
No,
did Gardner Fox?
you're talking earlier than like probably the 60s when Dick Dillon was doing it as well.
Okay,
Yeah, that
One
could have been
big.
Gardner Fox.
Yeah, that
He
might have
wrote
been
Green
Gardner
Lantern too. He wrote Green Lantern that Gil Kane was drawing.
yeah, it says that he pretty much had a big influence on the DC comics of the time, but also even bigger than Gardner Fox. We have Free Comic Book Day, which happened this day. It doesn't say the year, but this annual event held on the first Saturday of May is a major celebration where comic book stores and libraries across the US and Canada distribute free comics to fans. In 2025, it coincides with Star Wars Day and includes events like the Heroes versus Villains, Detroit's comic book story exhibit open at the Detroit Historic Museum, libraries like Oakland Public Library and Indianapolis Public Library also participate, offering free comics to all ages. The event often ties into major superhero film release for added buzz. So that's pretty big. Without Diamond, I don't know. I don't know quite how this free comic book day thing is going to work, but
It was
No free comics for you.
Yeah, you've got Alliance Games is going to get heavily into comics. So let's all start looking towards them. Of course, you have Lunar. Not sure if Lunar's taking anyone new on. Penguin. Not sure if they're. I think is Penguin the one that just is Marvel and DC, and I think
Yeah.
Yeah, and Penguin's mostly books anyhow, so it'd be tough.
yeah. See, I got
Penguin's Random
Hey,
House.
Andy, lower your face down a little bit. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, stop. Oh no, come up a little bit. Come up a little bit. Okay. Don't you feel like you're in Home Improvement?
Yeah, exactly. He's got the
Isn't he the guy on the other side of the fence?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, listen, Tim, sometimes you just have to listen to your wife. She has good advice every now and then, Tim. Just listen to her.
Just listen
If you
to
flip the hat up a little bit, you could be Bill Murray from Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, yeah.
I'm going to because this hat got a lot tight. I've had it for years, but it's tightened up. It's hurting my head.
Is your head growing?
Well, you know,
harder.
Steroids.
swelling. Whenever I see Billy, my head swells.
Yeah, no. What happened?
That's swelling on
Once
me,
you
buddy. I'll
became
tell you
a
that.
bro, Andy, once you became a bro, you started getting smarter.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
with Diamond disappearing, I mean, Free Comic Day may might end up being like the underground movement in the late '60s, where we're just have our little wagons full of our homemade comics and giving them away on the street corner out in front of
Free comic books.
Free comic, yeah.
No one's going to give away their
Free
comic.
comic books.
Yeah.
No, because other companies like Lunar was doing some of them and stuff. So other companies
I don't even know
or
who
other
Lunar is.
distributors. I doubt it'll go away.
The reality is nature abhors a void.
Yeah.
So someone will step up. If there's
Yeah.
money to be made, someone will step up.
Well, how do you make?
I agree. And also, like,
No,
the
no,
movies
I'm
are
talking
not
about
free to the
distribution.
store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would look towards and I am going to pursue this, and I will let you guys know about Alliance and see if there's any movement on that, because I think they're going to do it. I'm going to get in early on them, and I'll let you chaps. Do your books have ISBN numbers on the back or USB whatever?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Can I see it?
I
Who
don't.
does? Okay, this guy.
I'm a forward thinker.
Yes. Okay.
See, I think it uglies up the book for the collector market.
We put it on the back.
I know.
Except for
I don't like it. I don't like credits on it. I don't put any extraneous credits on my books. I don't put any credits on my books.
How do you feel about credits to Navy beans? Are you okay with that? Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. That's still 24
Well,
hours.
as
away.
far as Free Comic Book Day, I remember the first Free Comic Book Day. I was still working at Marvel. They still liked me. I was working on the Ultimates books and Ultimate X-Men #1, which was the Adam Kubert book,
Yes.
was given away in the New York Times. So in the newspaper, they actually had, and it was the version of Free Comic Book Day. You know how they print it on the top? It had that version, and it was in the newspaper.
So it was
that
like
was
Will Eisner's Spirit, that it was a comic book insert within a newspaper.
yeah, it was just the comic itself. It wasn't like, printed in the newspaper. They just
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a standalone comic printed and inserted into the newspaper. That's how Will Eisner's comics were.
Really? I didn't know.
That's how the Spirit was.
So who here has had a book come out on Free Comic Day? Like worked on a book that was out on Free Comic Day?
Like had like the free comic?
Yeah, it was one of the free books.
I did a Superman pinup for one of the free comic books. I know that for sure.
I did covers for J.C. Vaughn for the Gemstone one. I did Usagi Jimbo and
Submariner.
No, not yet. I did Usagi Jimbo and Painkiller Jane. Jimmy Palmiotti's character.
Yeah.
And then I did She versus Dinosaurs for Hire.
Dinosaurs for Hire. Those mercenary dinosaurs.
Yeah,
do you guys remember this at all? There was when was this? This would have been probably post cross gen, and Marvel had me do covers for a couple of Spider-Man books that were printed, I think, on newsprint. I think even the covers were newsprint, and they were in newspaper inserts, and they were reprinting I know I did. We were joking about it last night on Kings. The who are those three guys? Dandy Dan and the
Enforcers.
The Enforcers. It was issue 10, I think. So I did a new cover for that, and a couple other ones that I believe were even the covers of the books were newsprint, and they were inserts in newspapers.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did one of those Overstreet books too. I think it was the Captain Action cover that I did. So it's always good. Have you guys done Free Comic Book Day where you're like in the shop and
every year I do.
For
I didn't give anything away for free though.
I used to do it every year, but for the one book that I did, which was Project Superpowers for Dynamite, I was at a store in Florida. They had me come down or flew me down and whatnot for it.
Yeah, I used to go down to Yancey Street also.
Yeah,
every year.
Yeah, Steve, right? That's Steve. Yeah, that was. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad I charged to do those things because I watch those guys. They're so not business people. They don't have anything to really sell, and people just line up. They get their free comics, and most of them are like they come in the front door, they go through the line, and then they exit out the back door. And you don't get to browse the store or anything. It's like all the shopkeepers want is they want them to get in and they want to get them out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the store I go to.
Sell anything, man.
Yeah, not good shop guys, not good comic book dealers.
Yeah, the store I go to here, they've got sales on everything, and they want you in that store. They got long boxes out with cheap stuff.
They got statues and all kinds of pop culture stuff to kind of wet the whistle, so to speak.
Yeah, I saw one that actually, how like sometimes like Best Buy used to do this. I don't know if they still do, but as you're at the checkout, they have all these impulse items.
Mm-hmm.
I did one of the Free Comic Book Day, and the guy was forward thinking and had like all these like kind of kiosks things, so you get your free comics, but then they had all these other things that were on sale or whatever they tried to get you to buy, and then they had a register at the end of the line, which was cool.
Well, I got brought out to a store signing in at Bedrock City in Houston, and they had scheduled me to do it, and they're like, a couple weeks before the thing, they're like, oh, this is going to fall on Batman Day. Are you sure you want to do it? And I'm like, now I really want to do it because you're going to have like twice as many people in the store because it's Batman Day. And I had a line all day long just because there was people there anyway. And they're like, oh, let's get his autograph, and they waited in line. And it made me feel pretty important on Batman.
That's when you go like $30, like do like quick profiles of Batman.
Batman. Yeah, exactly.
Did you sign your name, Nolan, in a square?
Yeah, I did.
on
Yeah.
the
I
Batman.
think I misspelled it though. I was like Nowlan, and
Like the other Nolan
Yeah.
in the
that
business.
guy.
I got a little confused.
Yeah.
I always end up doing my sketches for free on backing boards, and I'll do dozens of them for people.
What an asshole!
I know.
I know.
I know it. I know.
You know what? I used to do that, Billy, in the day. I remember there was one. It was cable number one, and it was a New York show, and I must have done like 50 of those things. They're just like quick profiles, just like scribbles. But man, and then like a couple years later, the artists started getting smarter, and they started stepping up, the sketch game and charging. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh man, this is great.
Yeah, but you see on comic art fans, I know with me, like the free sketches, like
those free sketches ended up on eBay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is too, like when you type your name in, you go like con sketches by Graham Nolan or whoever. And it's like it's always the worst ones you did,
Yeah, I know.
Those freebies that you knocked out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
CrossGen made us do free sketches, and it was so stupid because people would come in and go, "Can you draw Wolverine?" We were in the CrossGen booth.
I remember.
And they would make us draw free sketches for everybody because they were paying us to be there, right? We were all on salary, so it was like, but the guys would come in and go, "Hey, can I get a Wolverine?"
CrossGen's paying you, and somebody's asking for a Marvel character.
Yeah, that was like seriously, it was like 90% of the requests were like Marvel or DC characters. They didn't care about CrossGen.
You have to, if you're managing things, you have to go, well, you know what? Only the Valiant characters are free.
or the CrossGen characters are free.
Right. You ask them what their name is. And what's your name? Oh, Bill. There you go, Bill. If they say no, that's okay. Say no.
Got to put Bill on there.
Yeah.
I love the guys that they're lying and they're like, it's for my kid. It's like, where's your kid?
Yeah.
He's at home. Well, why didn't you bring your kid to a Comic Con?
Yeah. Aaron, I remember you guys at MegaCon and you were all at the booth and they're just sketching away. And I'm like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Exactly. You know what?
You get paid though. I didn't.
What I used to do was if people would come up and ask me for a sketch, and I'd always hate it. I go, what do you want? And they go, oh, I don't care. And I'm like, so I'd either do Man Thing or Howard the Duck if they didn't have anything. But now I'm switching to Fancy Namer. That's what they're going to get. Fancy Submariner if they don't know what they want.
With his bent staff.
You're gonna do Gaymore? Gaymore? Gaymore.
I'm going to sign it Lopresti after Tucci on every
Gaymore from the deep.
You know what, Aaron? Do you have a sketchbook? Because I'm going to do a Submariner in it for you for free.
I'll bring it. I'll bring it to San Diego, and you can do me a fancy name.
By then, I'm going to do great Submariners.
Okay, I'm looking
for with this junk hanging out, Billy, just because it's Aaron's sketchbook
with a shriveled little sea dick.
Billy's proud right now.
Sea dick.
He's got a shriveled sea urchin hanging from him.
He's like, what a seahorse?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Billy's practicing. He's going to be the best Namor artist.
Look at Randy Howell. Look what he wrote. Gaymore. He goes in deep.
Oh, hello. Oh, so wrong.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll draw him like
I like this one. This one's
a glitch too. Yeah.
It's the mighty Gaymore.
Yeah,
that is a parody waiting to happen.
Well, I don't even know what that big screen Namor was like. That wasn't anything like the character. It wasn't.
Nope.
Terrible.
God, well, thanks a lot, Graham.
Yeah.
So
where I was going with it, Billy, is that character was gayer than your version.
Yeah. Isn't Aqualad gayer? Who's gayer? Namor, my Namor drawing, or Aqualad?
Well, Aqualad.
Aqualad. Sorry, that's how us gays call it.
Aqualad. Aqualad.
Aqualode.
Aqualung.
Andy Smith, look how sunburned you are, bro. You look like a fucking.
No, it's just the hat changes.
Cut off the circulation.
The green hat makes his face look red. That makes
right.
sense.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask you guys something. I know I'm going off kilter, but Matthew just came back from college over the weekend and got a job at the local public library.
Okay.
Working maintenance in the maintenance department. So we put in, I said, go to the library. It's a beautiful library here. He's making $17.85 an hour.
Well, it is maintenance. I mean, does he actually know how to fix stuff?
Well, he said his training is Tuesday, where the guy's going to train from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then he's done training. So, and then on Saturdays and Sundays, he'll make $27.50 an hour.
Government
is that
job.
overtime?
Government jobs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
overtime.
bro, when I was your age, I was making $35 a day busting my ass for a bricklayer, being a laborer.
I remember minimum wage was like under $3.
I know. I was like,
I think it was $2.45 when I started.
$3.35.
Yeah, it was $2 and something when I started.
Is that gay?
Oh, that is so gay.
Well, you put like stubble on him, so he looks a little tougher.
Put an earring in his right
Nose.
ear.
Put an earring in his nose.
His right ear and his right ear.
Yeah, it's right. Is that the gay ear? The right ear?
No, it's right is no right.
Left is right,
left
right
is
is
right,
wrong.
right is
Right is
wrong.
gay,
That's what it
dude.
was.
Yeah. So the right ear is the gay ear.
Yeah,
Right.
so there he goes. He's look
Yeah,
at him.
just put one in each ear.
He's
And
gay.
Namor now has pink hair or blue. Yeah, it's not black.
My gosh. He just-
All right. Well, let's get into this. The topic. The topic is IP.
We have a topic.
Yeah, we have a topic.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, and we're gonna. I thought this would be fun, where we all creative people have a ton of ideas, things that they have been creating, ideas that they've had, but have never seen the light of day. So they either begin and end, in your head or in your sketchbooks or whatever. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of get into some of these ideas. I pitched it to the guys, and they were like, "Well, some of those IPs we might want to do later on." So we might. I'm going to do it. I don't care. But so we widen the topic. So we could do toy lines that you pitched or that you created, movies, TV, video games. It could be comic book pitches that you've made, like stories, characters, things like that. So I thought it would be fun to do a deep dive, and we'll start with Mr. Graham Nolan.
Well, they say ignorance is bliss, and when you're young and you don't know any better, you're willing to try anything. And so when I was this was 1985, I think I did one job for Marvel, and it was a fill-in for the Transformers. And that was it. I had no credentials whatsoever. But I had this idea for this little toy line called Marvel Minis. And what I did was I bought a bunch of Smurfs, and I took X-Acto knives and cut them up and carved them and then repainted them. I created packaging for it because they all that advertising stuff at the Kubert School for blister packs and stuff. And I think I might have put saran wrap over it, to make it look like a blister pack. And then I got on the phone and I called Marvel, and I got to talk to somebody upstairs, and they said, "Sure, come on in." So I went up the elevator past editorial all the way up to the nice offices where we had the coffee and the beautiful desks and the views out of Manhattan and stuff like that. And this guy sat down with this 23-year-old kid to hear my pitch for Marvel Minis. I did it for DC as well. I did DC characters and Marvel characters.
Did you call them DC dumplings?
It was Marvel Minis in DC. I can't remember what the DC one was.
DC Dinkies.
Yeah, DC.
Yeah.
DC.
I don't remember, but I have them. I have some of them that have survived.
Oh shit! This is
wow.
So
Okay,
make me dig, and I'll show you. The only Marvel one I have left is Spider-Man.
Oh,
wow,
damn.
Great.
Holy shit, Graham. Wow.
Yeah, that was originally a Smurf.
Wow.
And then
So what happened?
Oh,
shit.
Look at these. These are
You
hot.
made the
collectibles,
wings,
man.
I take it, right?
No, the wings were part of whatever that Smurf was.
Oh wow.
I saw that and I'm like, oh shit, that's Batman. And then here's Robin.
Those are great.
I know. I
You know
would've
that
bought
Robin
Those are
pose is the
brilliant.
only one that looks like a Smurf, like just the posture.
Right?
Yeah, that's
I
cool,
don't know
man.
what the bat why this guy had bat wings, but it was like perfect for me. You know, to cut these things up. This is 1985, I think. So we're talking what 40 years ago.
Wow.
Well, so what was the response? How did the pitch meeting
The
go?
guy really liked him, and he was going to get back to me, and he got back to me and said no. But you know what? They did release something very similar to
Of
this,
course they did.
and they called
Right.
it something else.
I bet
Of course
you though,
they
if you-
did.
Yeah, but if you were a manufacturer and you say I could make these, they're 17 cents each, that's probably because they were in no position then to do it in house.
Oh,
You know?
right.
So
Right.
Oh yeah,
The thing
Joe
is,
Bernardo said
it was a
Superhero Squad.
one mold figure. They could have knocked those things out, no problem. Do you remember what was it? I think DC, it was McDonald's or something like that they did the Warner Brothers characters as the DC heroes. So it was like Daffy Duck
Oh,
had
yeah.
like a Batman suit. That's what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
reminded me. It's got the wings out and everything, and
Yeah.
there was like Porky Pig or
Well-
Petunia Pig was Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Glitch in the chat says that the Batman one was the Smurf hang glider.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because what they did, I think I had a girlfriend that collected those. They had like a Smurf for everything. Like if you like bowling, right? They had a Smurf that was bowling or fishing or whatever the activity was.
yeah,
What
my
was his
girlfriend
name?
gave me
Peo?
I got a hockey Smurf, I remember.
What was it? Peo? Peo is like pissed at you right now, Graham. He's like,
Why?
What?
was he the creator of Smurfs? Peo? Was that the guy's name?
Oh,
I
I
have
can't
no idea.
remember.
He's
Sounds
like,
right.
how dare you bastardize
But
my
they're no
books?"
longer Smurfs. They've been cut up,
Sliced up.
sliced
The
up.
bad part is when his mom walked in and was like, well, "You're cutting up Smurfs. I don't want to know," and then just walked right out.
You know, it was like serial killer
My
Graham.
mom,
Right.
1985. I was married.
Right. Your mom walked
Your
in, as
like
in your
your
wife,
Living at
and
home.
said, "What did I marry?"
So do you use an X-Acto knife? You just kind of like you're whittling a piece of wood, right? So
Exactly right.
yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
Poor Smurfs.
Yeah,
Wow.
some of them had like the Spider-Man. I had to cut off I didn't. Well, I guess I did, because they had that kind of pointy hat.
They had the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that worked out pretty good for him. Batman, I had to cut down the hat and then carve out the
The ears.
yeah.
That's really good, man. Good job.
Yeah.
It's too bad you don't have any of the packaging stuff for it.
Well, we should all just
Yeah,
end right
John
now.
Delpy taught me all that stuff
Yeah.
at the
Gee.
Hubert School.
Yeah.
Had to
Did
make,
Marvel at least
what they
offer
took
to
off
reimburse you for your Smurf payment, your Smurf purchases?
The cool thing about it was a great experience. It forced me out of a comfort zone. I had because I was young and didn't know better. I didn't think it was inappropriate to call upstairs and get and try and get through the door that way. But I did. I didn't know any better.
Impressive, bro. It's impressive.
Well,
That's my favorite thing about this industry is it still is kind of informal. And you can talk to people, and pretty much if you think it, and you hustle, you can manifest it. It's not like, like a corporate, thing where there's certain procedures and ladders that you have to go up and all that stuff. Like comic books it just was never like that. So I think I always liked it because you could make things up, and you could try, unique things. So like all of our career right now, I mean, look where we're at now. We're creating our own comic books. So if we were in a corporate, kind of situation, we wouldn't have these opportunities. But comic books is so informal, we can just do whatever we want pretty much. And I really like that. And I like that we can work out of our houses.
Well, it used to be more informal, but today, if I tried to do that, there'd be no way.
Yeah.
You'd have to call a meeting.
You know, they're not going to take a look at anything that might be interpreted as they stole it from me. You know?
Right.
So that wouldn't happen today. But in 1985,
they were looking to steal stuff in 35 years ago.
There you go, Darren Wagner, Grant, Comicscape Minis.
Yes.
Get yourself some Smurfs
CG
and make it
Minis.
happen.
Whatever happened to those? Who was making those little figures that time? Remember?
Eric Hutfuls.
Yeah. Did he make? I don't.
Yeah,
think
we had some black and white ones. What were their Keshi, the like the Japanese figures.
little muscle men
would've been
guys.
cool.
Muscle men, yeah.
Joe Pesci?
No,
Joe Pesci.
Oh,
Henry?
Oh, I see.
You know what would be cool? Nick Clark says Monster Island Minis monsters. Hey, you guys remember those Monster Maker kits? Like Mattel put them out.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
like little blocks, and you could put them in like some kind of heating chamber, and then they would kind of like pop out, and they would turn into monsters. Oh shit, dude, that would be a great Monster Island.
Creepy crawlers.
Yeah, they had those cast iron. They're probably lead.
Yeah, they were hot plates.
Yeah, and you'd pour the goop in there and cook it. Come on,
No. These were like little. They were like little blocks.
Oh, I know the ones you mean.
And so there was like a dome. It was probably still a heating plate.
Yeah.
And then you kind of slid it in there, and then you could watch it within the dome, kind of like, I don't know, like the
rise up, like it was a compressed thing under heat, and then when it would heat again, it would release it and it would come out.
Yeah, somehow it was plastic that had a memory to it, so it could take on that form, and also you could condense it back to that like little, wedge or whatever the hell it was. Man, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
These kids today don't know what they were missing, man.
Yeah. Those hot
that's
plates,
good
like
stuff.
the creepy crawlers, that type of stuff. I mean, how many times did you burn your hand on that damn thing? It got up to like 800 degrees. You're you're laying it on your carpet. You're pouring stuff in there. I mean,
Didn't they have ones that you could
burn
eat?
down?
Didn't they have ones you could eat, like creepy crawlies you could eat? They were like
I think
gummies.
so.
I mean, probably for the
Yeah.
what was that dumb little oven that?
Oh,
girls
the
had?
Susie Beck oven, or
Now the oven,
Easy Bake. Easy Bake.
there's Susie
They were
Beck and
called
Easy Bake.
incredible edibles. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
the thing about those is those were just a light bulb. Hey, those are just a light bulb. We had like
I know.
shit that could like burn your face off.
Yeah. They had those little
The girls just had a light bulb, right?
Yep.
Easy Bake Oven.
Yep.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Aaron Lepresi, what pitch do you have that nobody would know about, or characters, or?
Well, you guys want to hear about the Man-Thing pitch, the Night Nurse pitch, or the Creeper pitch?
None of those.
Night
What else you got?
Nurse.
Yeah, night
Yeah,
nurse.
now I know why they didn't go anywhere. Try again. Let's go for Night Nurse, because
No,
you're the
Tim, I wanna
only
hear the
person
Creeper,
in
I
the
have a
freaking
Creeper
world
pitch.
that would pitch Night Nurse.
Yeah, but this is good.
All right, let's
Okay.
hear Night Nurse.
Okay. So Night Nurse, we open up. Are you with me? We open the story.
That's how
We're-
we usually do it.
We're
We usually open.
It was a dark and stormy night.
We don't usually close, but we open.
We closed the story.
she's working the night shift in the emergency room in New York, right? And Howard the Duck
How original. No, I'm sorry.
and Gay Namer shows up. And-
Game more.
And he has a cut on his leg, and he needs the Night Nurse to fix it.
Exactly.
He stabbed himself.
But it's not his leg,
He
it's
said,
something
"Be
else.
gentle."
I rubbed my leg against the barnacle.
Oh, come on. I want to hear this. Let's hear this. Tell Night Nurse is working in the hospital.
Right.
I
We're
knew we were
opening
going
with
there.
Night Nurse in the hospital.
Yeah, treating Howard the Duck. Okay. And so she's like, wow, that, what a weird experience. It was the first time she'd ever experienced like one of these superhero metahuman type things, right? So she's leaving work, and you've got the whole romance angle too, right? Her in love with doctors and all this kind of stuff is kind of playing in the background. But anyway, so she leaves, she's on her way home. She runs into Spider-Man, who's taking out some criminal, she gets mugged, and Spider-Man shows up to save her, right? So then as Spider-Man's saving her, his spider sense tingles, and the whole alley wall collapses, and it is, yes, Namor fighting the Thing. And they're just
making this up right now.
No, I'm dead serious. And so Spider-Man gets caught in this thing, gets knocked unconscious, right? And so then Namor flies off because he's vanquished the Thing. The Thing's like, got stars spinning. And so the night nurse has to do first aid on Spider-Man, but the Thing takes him back to the FF, because Reed can help, right? And night nurse goes along, helping him out as a nurse. And so then Johnny and the Thing get in this fight over her because they both want to date her. And she ends up getting her costume ripped. Or her clothes ripped. And
her nurse costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor Peter Parker is dying right now.
Hang on a second. Yeah, well, they saved Peter, okay? But anyway, so she gets this like FF costume, an extra white one. It was white with red letters that they never used. And so Sue gives her this to wear because her clothes are all ripped up. And so she goes back to her hotel, and after this, or apartment, and after all this sort of experience with these superheroes, she's like, what if I was a nurse to the superheroes, right? I mean, the whole thing is a comedy, okay? So she starts.
It is? When's it get funny?
We should have led with that.
Anyway, to make a long story short, she decides to become this like superhero nurse to, and starts wandering around on the rooftops. And there becomes this, she stumbles upon this fight between Absorbing Man and Captain America. And she uses she has some sort of chemical in her nurse bag that she throws on the Absorbing Man, which makes him unconscious or whatever, and allows Cap to defeat him. And, Cap's like, great job, you're one of us now kind of thing. But she almost gets killed in the process. So she really is rethinking her whole strategy of all this thing. And
her life choices.
Huh?
Her life choices.
Her life choices. And so she decides to transition. And no. And
all of a sudden it got interesting.
Yeah. So
the story ends when she takes the day shift and becomes day nurse. And then nothing
day
happens.
Nurse.
No, so then she's like, she decides she's, that she almost got killed. She's going to give up.
Her name's Jean Gay.
And that, yeah, exactly. And then she realizes she lost her purse, and she's like, oh my gosh. And then the splash page at the end of the story is Thor is flying outside her window with her purse going, it's like, so she can't get away from the superhero thing.
Wow, I'm glad you saved the splash page for the very last page of the book.
Yeah, there's two observations. One, was this a 10-year-old Aaron Lepresti that came up with this idea?
Dude,
and then two,
this is the
sounds like something that like an artist would come up with so he could draw all his favorite characters.
That's exactly what it was. But you should see the artwork I did for it. It's really nice. And
why are we looking at it?
Of course, it didn't go anywhere. Oh, I got to dig it up. Give me a second here. I'll dig it up. But
Well,
anyway,
it's not like you didn't know about this show about 6 hours ago.
I'm telling you. Well, I was going to tell you the Man-Thing story, but instead I went with you guys wanted Night Nurse, so I gave you Night Nurse.
I knew we should have gone with Man-Thing.
We still can.
And Aaron tries to tell us he's never smoked pot. I call BS.
This would have been great. People would have loved it. Just a one shot, kind of.
There's uses her lipstick and it rolls down a sewer, and then the lizard is down there.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
It sounds like a stream of consciousness pitch.
Graham, you're right on the money. You can come in as co-writer on this.
It's got to be head nurse McGillicuddy, based on the always adorable Ruth Gordon. Who fires her because she left her job and all these people died.
Oh, God.
She was
very fine. She's a great kid.
and the only saving grace of this whole series is that Aaron draws hot women, right? Like
exactly.
That's the only selling point of this whole thing.
Oh, I can't find the artwork.
And she gets her outfit ripped.
Well, see, what you do is you have the whole thing where we go back and forth to the hospital, and she has romance going on with the doctors and stuff. So you do kind of pay homage to the old classic romance comics, but you got this superhero silliness going on around the whole thing. So, brings it into a new, more contemporary audience that only wants to read about superheroes. It's I'm telling you, it's genius. I can't believe
it's kind of like those doctors that work for the mafia, right? Like the mafia guys get all jacked up, and they have like a resident doctor that'll stitch them up or pull it out or whatever.
You could go all over the place. It's like John Wick shaking his head. He doesn't believe it, but I'm telling you, it would have been huge.
There's still time, Aaron. There's still time. You can do Night Nurse.
You just need to tweak a few things, Aaron, and it can be perfect.
Well, just a few.
Yeah, like here's my editorial note. If I was an editor, I love everything. Just get rid of Night Nurse and put a real cool chick in the book instead.
Yeah,
or just get rid of Night Nurse, and then you have the Marvel Universe.
That's
you guys have no sense of humor. You guys are not visionaries.
Hey, Aaron, do you own Night Nurse #1 in like 9/8 condition?
No, I don't. It's expensive. It's expensive.
You call it Nurse Sexy, and then all the injured superheroes come in, and then she starts coming on to them. In the hospital as they're recovering. You know what you need, my friend. Is a rub.
This sounds a little more adult than what I was planning, but
or it could be Slutty Susan the night.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember they used to have candy stripers in
I like the candy striper.
Oh,
Mary Jane Watson as a candy striper.
And now we're getting someplace.
That title could be called Almost Nurse.
Instead of the Night Nurse, you could create a character called the Midnight Maid. And she's the maid to the superheroes, and she wears
clean your house,
clean up all their shit.
Didn't you? Wasn't that one of the characters in Mighty Man, Andy?
I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
What was Marvel had that? What was that? It was a company that
that cleaned up after all the battles.
Damage control.
Damage control. Yeah.
They
were in the movies.
That's a really cool idea.
I always thought that was a great idea. Yeah.
There's a pre-code movie with Barbara Stanwyck called Night Nurse.
Ooh.
Barbara Stanwyck in the day.
Yeah. She was like 1931, 32.
Wasn't there a movie with Ursula Andress called The Sensuous Nurse, Billy? Does that sound
there was a movie by Ursula Andress as she, S-H-E.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know who played the Night Nurse in the Netflix Marvel shows?
I don't know. Yeah.
It was Rosario Dawson.
All right, if you don't like that one, I got this Deathlock proposal. I think you guys will really like it.
All right.
He becomes a Night Nurse.
No, so Deathlock, as you know, is like this android, right? That different guys inhabit the body or have.
He's a cyborg, I thought.
Right? Yeah, cyborg. That's the right. Yeah. And
does he have a penis?
Huh?
Does Deathlock have a penis?
Hopefully so.
Oh boy! Don't ask Jeff Johns that.
Well, Cyborg doesn't, right?
No, Cyborg does not.
Cyborg. Wow,
they never really got into that, did they? Was that any part of the Rich Buckler lore? Was whether or not Deathlock had a?
Well, Deathlock was a black dude, so
in the miniseries.
In the miniseries.
In the miniseries, but not the original.
No, the original Deathlock was a white guy.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, but he had a black wife.
No,
he was a white guy.
He was a white guy that had a black wife, but then the new Deathlock was a black dude. That's the one Greg Wright was editor on, by the way. Your color.
Wait. Are you saying the original Rich Buckler Deathlock was a white guy?
He was a white guy.
Yeah, but he had a black wife.
What was his name?
Luther? Character? No, I don't know.
Luther Manning.
No, I'm just making it up.
What was it?
Luther Manning?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it is Luther Manning. Oh,
I could swear he was a black guy.
No,
I'm wrong.
I'll look.
Like a soldier that was dying, and they implanted all this stuff. That's the reason why he's always looking almost half zombie.
Oh,
he's a great visual character. That's all I remember.
Okay, but what if you took Deathlock? Right, you got the cyborg and everything, but nobody's in it at the moment. And they had this elite team of Do you see that Graham doesn't see color? He's so progressive.
That's true. I don't.
Here's a bourbon to you, Graham.
Thanks, your brother.
There you go.
Down it.
You got Angel's Envy, right?
Triple
Okay. Now
Oh,
check it out.
nice, nice.
You got this elite team of monster hunters, and they go on. They hunt down Kirby monsters who are just running rampant all over the world. They could be any place, you know, and so they're always hunting these Kirby monsters. But it's like it's a really dangerous job. So their leader's this really studly guy, whatever. This is kind of like a RoboCop thing. So he gets killed, right? But they decide, well, let's transfer his consciousness into the Deathlock cyborg so we can keep the team going. He just so happened to be involved with this woman who's on the team, but so. Like, I don't know if they were married at the time. I think they were just like they were, you know, this love story. But then he comes back as Deathlock, and she's like, "Whoa, dude," you know. But he's still the same guy, right? And trying to lead this team, and now he's got problems with this this woman that he was in love with when he was human, and they continue to fight Kirby monsters. So, see,
Does he fight that? Does he team up with that Kirby monster you love so much? That white fluffy thing that you had to buy?
Oh, Zemnu the Living Titan.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, Zemnu the gay monster. That was it.
Hey now, hey now.
Wow. Just now you're hurting. Now you're being mean.
I knew I shouldn't have had that
hurt
wine
now.
with dinner.
Well, Graham, if I was an I mean, Aaron, if I was an executive at Marvel, I would have greenlit both of those.
Thank you,
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you, thank
They
you.
would have sold millions of copies. So I don't know how.
These guys. I got 1 million of them.
Got a million.
I don't know how
Sadly, I
Andy's
do.
going to top. Yeah, Andy, how are you going to top this?
Oh, I'm not. I actually have visuals, unlike Aaron.
Oh.
Now the difference is I don't remember half the story because most of the stuff, the couple things I have was a collaboration with a friend of mine. So I can show the art and I can just touch on the basic story because I really don't remember much of it. But this is from 2015. Let me present.
Present yourself, young man.
Drum roll.
This was for
Present yourself.
this was for DC, and it was a Booster Gold pitch.
Oh,
So that it was a reality show, and we gave him a teenage sidekick. And then you had the director of the show back there who wanted to, his whole thing was he wanted to be taken as a serious director, a serious cinematic filmmaker of foreign films. But all he could get was this Booster Gold reality show. And then the host of the show was that woman in the background. And other than that, I know it was lighthearted in tone and funny, and that's all I remember.
Andy, what year was this? This sounds like it could happen.
This was 2015.
2015.
So 10 years ago. Okay.
So, but I think Dan was coming back. Jurgens was coming back with a Booster Gold thing. So that took precedence, of course.
That's
The thing
one of the
about
things I always
Booster-
hated about DC is that like there was these fiefdoms and like you know you had your Batman office, your Superman office, your Justice League office, your Green Lantern office, and your Flash office, and then anything that didn't quite fall into that, it depended on the editor's cult of personality, like who they were going to claim, and they would hold on to characters that like I know like Chuck and I wanted to integrate the Creeper into Detective Comics and then do a spin-off series for the Creeper.
Oh,
And
yeah.
because the Creeper from his outset took place in Gotham City, so we thought it was a great connection there. And we started leaving like little what do you call it, Easter eggs in our books.
Right.
What do you call those roadside signs? Billboards. We'd have like billboards in the background in Gotham advertising Jack Ryder's radio program, that kind of stuff. And then when we actually, pitched our Creeper series, one of the editors, had claim to it, even though nobody was doing anything with it, and nothing came out of it.
Oh, right.
But we couldn't do it.
I remember you showed
art-
that. You showed a
art,
piece
yeah.
of art you did that was really cool.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I
Oh, that's
I wanted to do a creeper pitch too, because I don't know, Graham. This might have been at the same time that DC, there was that going around that they were looking to do a creeper series, and they were looking at pitches. Now,
What year is this, Aaron?
Oh god, that would have been 95-ish, probably 96.
Look at Aaron's signature, the A and the L. Is that what that is?
That's a Michael Golden ripoff. You know, I had the circle with the M and the G in it.
Look at you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they were like going through, like, everybody put in a proposal for the creeper. Even Mignola did, and they rejected it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one, and then the one they finally ended up doing was ridiculous. I think Len Kaminsky wrote it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
just
The
like,
artwork was horrible.
it's like all the things that you guys turned down, and this is the one you decided to do.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
So you said that was 95?
95, 96 would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to check and see when we were doing it in the 90s, that's for sure. But it might have been a little bit later, but it might have been 90, 96, 97. I'm not sure.
Well, I remember this went, the creeper thing went on forever, and people just kept getting rejected and rejected.
Yeah.
And then they finally did the series, and it was stupid. So
I
it
think
might
they
have
were
been
holding on to it for Mignola, and
Yeah,
it
but
never
he
came
didn't-
about.
I heard they rejected his proposal, though.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me
They
get
didn't
this
like
from
it.
Paul Taylor. Thank you for the super chat. Hell, bros and chat. Aaron, when are you going to do Brother Voodoo meets the Night Nurse?
I did have, hang on a second now. I did have Kitty Pryde meets the Living Mummy. I did
Ooh.
have that. So
These sound like Abbott and Costello type of ideas.
That's because
Except
Aaron
for good.
loves Abbott and Costello.
Aaron just prints out a bunch of freaking names, puts them in a hat, pulls them out, and goes, "That's it."
no, I always picked the most obscure characters because I figured if they got approved, I wouldn't have to deal with any crap about continuity. They'd leave me alone.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to pitch. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Aaron's creative genius is always adding meets. Like this character meets this character. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Mr. Tucci, what do you got?
Okay, I got a couple. I could tell Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it. Oh, this is
No,
this
no,
the one I
let's
was
let's
gonna
hear
draw?
the
wait,
list. Go on.
Wait, let Art come back because I want to tell the one I really one I'm most proud of, and if I can go full screen when he comes back from taking a piss or whatever he's doing.
The host of the show.
So I have Sergeant Rock. And a lot of these pitches came like so close to happening. Like we all thought it was going to happen, and then somebody comes in out of nowhere and puts a kibosh to it.
Well, we were talking about doing that Captain America thing.
That's the one I'm going to tell, the Captain America one, that you were perfect for it. And remember I told you, like, I had a meeting and like,
Yeah.
look at this Captain America pitch, and they're like, can you draw it? And I'm like, I don't know if I have the time to draw it, or but why don't I get a real artist to draw it? So I went up to you at San Diego, and all right, can you go?
So how long ago was this?
Art T-Bear?
Yes.
So the
How
one
long ago was
I'll
this?
show the Captain America one, but I have
Pre-COVID.
one before that.
During
So
COVID?
it's basically, I'll let Art make me go big real quick.
Well, I don't see anything to click
No,
on.
can you make me big?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
give him solo
Pretend
layout.
he's
Will you
pretend he's
see-
Namor and make him big.
It was called Glistening Green. So it opens up with this glistening. It's called Glistening Green and Le Grand Bleu. That's what we call it.
This is not real.
Green in
You're
French-
making this
green
shit
in
up.
French is vert. So if you want to hear vert, whatever, it's vert. It's how do you say I forget how you say glistening. Glistening vert, Le Grand Bleu. So you open up with this glistening green, very tight shot of this green thing, like sparkling, and you pull out and you see it's in water, but it's glistening and it's a scale, and then it's more scales, and it makes this amazing shape, and you start panning up.
I know where this is
scale,
going.
where you see
Yeah.
the glistening abs, and then you
I knew it.
and you see
I knew it.
And then you see a bent trident.
No, you see there's no Moon Knight, no Trident. No, well, there is a Trident, but not in this particular. And then you see the moon rays coming through from the water. You get closer and closer, and you creep up, and it's Gaynor. Gaynor. And he's like with the rings on his finger, and he's saying hello.
That's the energy.
Sassy. With an introduction by Paul Lynde.
You know, you're right.
We
Aaron
went
would have
through
been perfect.
all of
for
that for this.
When he said green glistening in the scale, I went, "Oh no, here we go."
Here we go.
Fucking homophobes at Marvel kicked me out. Had security.
You know what? I rushed my toilet duties for this.
All right. So here's a story. So it's 1944, right?
Okay.
And it's Saturn Girl is kidnapped in Germany by what's his name? Armin. What the hell's the guy's name?
Armin Zola?
Yes, thank you. And
Wait a
they had
minute.
to
Wait, hold on. Did you say Saturn Girl from the
Yes.
Legion?
Saturn.
Okay.
The Legion of Superheroes.
Okay.
No, is it no? Who's the one? That's DC. Who's the
Right.
Marvel one? Oh, it doesn't fucking matter. So
Night Nurse.
right. So now they send that the army soldiers are now breaking towards the Battle of the Bulge. Right, it's 1945. That's right. And all of a sudden you see this lone Ju-88 German bomber fly overhead and just drop something. Right? No parachutes, and it just comes down and lands in a big puff. And these American GIs are sitting there, and also you just see this snow, almost like a train is coming towards them, right? Closer and closer, and they're like, open fire! And they start opening fire, and all of a sudden you look and you just see this Iron Cross shield. And you see trugging on it is this German super soldier. Called him Der Kriegen, right? And he comes running up to them closer, and all of a sudden he hits something on the shield, and blades come out. Now, like this is a long time ago, right? And he just whips and the SWAT goes through and starts killing all the GIs and stuff, right? So now Captain America comes, right? So Captain America ends up battling him to try to save her. I don't want to give too much away. Maybe I should not tell the story. Yeah, I'll never work.
I don't want to give too much away.
It's a great. So anyway, so the character the Kriegen, he ends up fighting him, and there's this shot on a plane. So Captain America is released up from a mosquito plane, lands on his parachute. He's parachuting down. He's in the parachute. The German wasn't, and he's a fighter, the fighter plane. And they end up having this battle with this German pilot on this plane. Starts smashing through the cockpit. They get ripped, whatever. Anyway, they end up crashing. He ends up getting the shit beat out of him by this German super soldier. Right? There's a lot of layers to this, but I'm just going to hit it quick. And he
I gotta read this. Damn it, Billy.
Anyway, so I should have read it before I pitched it. It's a really good. Like they were like, and then someone said to me, Billy, this story, if it was anyone else but you, they would have. You can't tell this story because I think it would have led to a lot of Marvel work for me, a lot. So the end up with the soldier. Now this is way before Winter Soldier, all this stuff. This German super soldier. He ends up fighting him. Captain America ends up fighting him and losing to this guy, and he ends up being saved by Nick Fury, Sergeant Fury, and the Howling Commandos. Right now, but Captain America, Steve Rogers, recovers, and his confidence is shot. Right, and he ends up going. So anyway, so he ends up in this battle, ends up losing his shield. Right, he ends up losing the shield. So now he has to take the triangle shield. Now, again, this is like 2005. Okay, this is way before the Captain America movies, any of that stuff. And he ends up now he has that triangle shield, but it's kind of useless. The triangle shield, it's kind of crap. So
you can't throw it.
It's kind of crap. So anyway, he ends up by order of the President of the United States, he has to go down to Warm Springs, Georgia, and he meets Franklin Delano Roosevelt on his deathbed. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt says, we need you, that there is something going on in New York City. There's all these things. And this Kriegen, the war's almost over. The Kriegen has now come to the into the United States, and he's causing all this destruction and havoc. The Human Torch is fighting him. All the original Human Torch, Namor is just there on the side having some popcorn and checking things
Just
out.
watching.
Just watching. No, anyway, so
German,
FDR ends up representing Captain America, his shield, because Nick Fury found it, right? And getting to I'm going way over him beyond other things. I should have told my Sergeant Rock pitch, which is a lot better, my bit. So anyway, because I kind of put all the Marvel shit behind me. Anyway, he gets the shield and he's like, "We need you, Cap." And he looks at and Franklin Delano Roche shakes his hand, and Cap notices something on his hand, and FDR has the Captain America fan club ring that they gave out in the 40s.
Oh boy!
Yeah, the
Anyway,
Sentinel of Liberty.
So he Sentinel of Liberty. I think that might have been the name of the story too, because it was way before the Sentinel of Liberty came out. So maybe it's 2004, 2003. Anywho, so he ends up going to New York City fighting, and he goes up against this Kriegen soldier, right? He ends up fighting. They're battling it out. They end up crashing through the window of a synagogue that's on fire. And as they're fighting, this superhero ends up really beating the crap out of Captain America. And as he's doing it, you see him start shaking, getting these flashbacks or whatever. And all of a sudden he starts ripping the helmet off, ripping all this stuff off while they're in this burning synagogue. And this is the Kriegen character, and then looks at his arm, and he's got the tattoo that he was one of Mengele's experiments, because the Germans would never experiment on a German to be a super soldier. They would experiment on the Jews. And he ends up dragging Captain America out, saving Captain America. Again, his mission was the last mission before Hitler committed suicide, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so he ends up becoming a good guy, right? And he ends up becoming a character called Exodus. That's what I called him. And he ends up, as they're about to leave, he's like, "Well, the war's over." And he's like, "My war is just beginning." And he's like, "Where you go?" He's like, "I have to go to Judea. My people are being persecuted. They're starting this country." And Cap says, "Well, I know that because I was talking to so and so, whatever, the United States, and on behalf of the United States of America, he presents him with a shield, the same type as his, but it's a blue and white with the Star of David.
Like Israeli colors.
Yeah, like Israeli. And I drew pictures of him. He's really good. Remember that story? Mm-hmm. I'm fucking up my pitch so bad. Remember wasn't that the Kriegen story like really good?
The Kriegen story was one of the best things you ever wrote.
Right, and I can't tell it for nothing because I put it out of my mind.
Billy,
I know.
It sounds great. I'm still captivated, and it washed that night nurse right out of my head.
I was going to say, it was almost
you, Billy,
as deep
for
as my
removing
night nurse
Night
pitch.
That's because you're fools. That's why. Because I screwed it up. No, but anyway, so
they're your friends.
Yeah, they are my friends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't bust each other's chops. Not Debbie, everybody.
Not anymore. Not after that story.
Yeah, don't let him fool you, Deb. We're not his friends.
Yeah, but I got that's when I went up to
Don't lie, Graham.
That's when I went up to Aaron at San Diego, and I remember how hot they all were for it. And then someone said, "Yeah, I got to tell you," it was an editor said, "We were told to scrap this, and I think it's too good that they don't want you to be the guy to write the story."
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yep. And it's a really good story. Created this whole character, so many layers with World War II, but it involved all the Golden Age characters and stuff. Did not mess with any continuity, anything like that. And I just
was this going to be a limited series?
Miniseries, yeah, like a 6-issue.
6 issues
series, yep.
Cool.
Well, I want to read this. Randy Howell says only 53 likes. Yeah, you guys. If you guys have not thumbed this up, please do so. We are spilling our guts here, man.
Yeah, and I knew I should have pitched but I had a couple others that they come to me, and if I get another one, was that Human Torch story. Remember that for the Human Torch's 70th anniversary or whatever?
Art, did you get Paul Taylor's
yeah, he did Paul Taylor, didn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a cool story. When we're drinking, sitting by the fire, I'll tell you. It's really
Human Torch and Gamor.
As good as it gets.
Good as it gets.
Hot stuff and Aqua Boy.
That's right. One of them's a flamer. One of them's not.
You remember who you pitched it to?
Me?
Flamer and
Yeah,
Squirter.
Who did you pitch it to?
Which the Human Torch story?
No, the one you just told.
I
With
can't
Captain
tell.
America.
Yeah, I can't. He's the one who told me that they didn't want me to do it.
Oh, okay.
After
Okay.
they made
You're
it
not going
right,
to work there again.
I did a breakdown of it, of every, of the issue by issue. I spent like 2 weeks on that. And I remember talking to Darwin about it. And Darwin's like, you make those fuckers pay you for that. They gave you basically the green light from a pitch for you to write a breakdown of each issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Darwin did that, and he would make them pay him.
Well, you know what DC was doing before I left? They would have writers compete for the job. So they would all pitch ideas for the title. And they didn't pay him shit unless they use their idea.
Oof.
It's crazy. But yeah, so for me, yeah, I don't have I wanted to tell something outside of comic books. So sometimes you're just sitting around, ideas come, right? They just come out of nowhere. And for some reason, I thought this was a pretty good idea, and I wanted to tell you guys. So if anybody wants to take this idea, feel free. If you think it's good enough, just
make
give
lots of
me
money. Art says you don't owe him anything.
No, I'm not saying I don't own it, but just give me some credit. Just let me know that you're doing it. But anyway, it all started with, I always thought it was a great premise for an idea. It was like, it's like Weekend at Bernie's, right? Like there's this dead guy, but they have to pretend that he's alive, right? So they go through all these things, and it's obviously a broad comedy, and it's flawed, obviously, because how do you keep something like that going? But that idea stuck with me. And so I came up with an idea that was very loosely based. And this is like it's a general age story. Like it could be for adults, for kids. It could be kind of think Disney Sky High, like a family type of story. Mm-hmm. So anyways, we open up, it's a neighborhood, and it's very gang oriented. I mean, it's very crime ridden. And so this kid's coming home from school, goes to his apartment building, does his normal things. And so you get to see the slice of life in his little neighborhood, just kind of the, abuse from this gang. And you can kind of get the idea also that this neighborhood at some point was probably really nice, right? So he goes in the apartment, and he goes past the old man who owns the apartment, and he usually has words with this guy. But for some reason, when he's going up the stairs, he sees the doors cracked open, and he's like, what's going on? So he opens the door, and he sees that the guy had a heart attack. He's not dead, but he's not doing well either. And then there's another door that's cracked open. And so the kid, calls 911, opens up the other door, and sees like this suit. And there's a neighborhood hero. Just think of like Batman or Daredevil, right? Daredevil as far as like more of a neighborhood, but Batman as far as like gizmos and all that other stuff. So the kid's like, oh shit, this guy this old guy is Batman or whoever. I never really came up with names or anything, but it's this guy. And so he's like, holy shit. So then the old guy is like, he sees what's going on, and like he's gasping out. He's like, you can't tell anybody. Like the safety of this neighborhood depends on people knowing who, like, that it's not me, that there's this savior, and we got to keep this thing going. Like somehow the bad guys can't know that I'm not going to be here. And the kid's like, that's ridiculous. You're always going to be here. And he's like, no. So anyways, the paramedics come, the kid hides the Batman, suit gizmo closet or whatever. And so then they take the guy off. So then the kid's like, oh shit, what do I do with this information now? Like the neighborhood depends on this guy. And obviously like this has been going on for like years, like maybe even a decade. And so you kind of like in the day when that hero was young, there was less crime. But as he got older, things started getting worse. Then you realize also that the neighborhood started depending more on this guy to save the day than themselves. So the shopkeepers and stuff like that, instead of like, kicking out, the guy or whatever, they were calling in this hero. And so so then just crime started running amok. So then the kid's like, well, we got to let people think that this guy's still around. We can't let anybody know he's in the hospital. And so then they're like, then they do the Weekend at Bernie's thing, right? So they have access to this guy's closet. And so they dress up like dummies like him, put him on the rooftop. He's all silhouetted. And so they stage these things to let these gang guys know that he's still around, right? And so the kid goes back to the hospital. The guy's stabilized now, the old Batman guy, think of Batman Beyond. And so then they start, talking, and the kid's telling the old guy what he's doing. And so the old guy is kind of proud of the kid, but at the same time saying these are some dangerous people, right? So the kids, there's a group of kids, and so they start actually influencing the neighborhood. Like, you should start stepping up. If you did this or that or the other thing, maybe these guys wouldn't be getting away with it. So then all these things start happening. And so then the shopkeepers start getting a spine. The neighborhood starts getting into, like, they're almost like neighborhood watch kind of thing. And so then the gangbangers are starting to kind of get a little nervous about it, but they're not really diminishing at all. And so then the old guy that is Batman, he starts realizing these kids aren't really going to be able to win. You know what I mean? They need me. So the kids finally get, and the neighborhood get the crime under control, but the big bad is still there, right? So this Batman guy gets out of the hospital. He goes, the kids are like up against this guy. The odds are stacked against the kids. The guy's figured out the ruse, that the kids are kind of putting them on, and all this stuff. And then you find out that this Batman guy was the gang leader, and he decided that he was going to help instead of hinder, right? So these guys are like arch rivals, like the flip side of the same coin kind of thing. So anyway, the Batman guy ends up kicking this dude's ass, but barely. So it's kind of like the old guy fight and Up, their dentures are flying. All this shit's happening, right? So they're beating each other.
Dentures are flying out.
And so then between the kids and the neighborhood kind of like policing themselves, and this guy kind of getting out the big bad, the neighborhood becomes a good, safe place to live, and they get to prosper. So I never pitched it to anybody. I never even wrote any of this stuff down. I just thought it was a fun idea. I got a few other ones that I've never written down. They're just kind of always up in my head. But I always thought like it would be, and this was probably 20 years ago that I came up with this, 15, 20 years ago. So it was before, they really started doing these kind of superhero films and things like that. So I always thought like it was a fun, I always like the moral play of superheroes. Like, one of my favorite things is really like, the moral play. And you get that more in like old superhero comics or hero comics or adventures than you do now. But I really like that. So this was just kind of like a play on those ideas. You just like good versus evil, and then kind of how to empower yourself. Instead of relying on this superhero to save you,
Well,
the neighborhood relies on themselves.
Well, that's why I thought you were going with it. That's why I thought it'd be more. I think it'd be even more interesting that the old guy does die, but they don't know he's dead, and it's the citizens that make their neighborhood, their city safe.
It kind of is. That is going on.
The fake stuff, like the fake dummy that they think it's him, but it's actually the citizens taking the law into their own hands to protect themselves.
That is happening. That is happening, and they get most of the gang out, but the head guy, they can't beat. And so that's when that guy comes back. And I just felt like that guy needed a moment, instead of dying with, like he gets to have his last hurrah, with his boots on, gets to finally put an end to this kind of chapter in his life and take down his arch nemesis, kind of thing. So I thought it was more of a personal thing, but you're right. The neighborhood does take back their own neighborhood. And so from the future on, none of this kind of crap is ever going to happen again because they just won't allow it.
I'm thinking when he's in the hospital.
Oh, here we go.
At night, maybe a nurse comes by to give him a sponge bath.
Hello.
Now you're talking. The night nurse, right?
You guys are just.
I mean, you
jealous.
could call her that because it is at night when she comes by.
Did you
And
guys?
maybe he can be called the night man.
This is an interesting question.
You
here.
could call her the dusk nurse because it's not too dark out when she comes by, but the sun's going down.
Oh,
Did you guys come up, and this probably doesn't apply to Billy, but did you guys come up with a lot of your own ideas like in the 90s? Because that's where a lot of mine, where I was putting together pitches and stuff. And I'm wondering if it had a lot to do with the fact that we saw Image go out and do their own thing and be successful, that we suddenly thought as creators, hey, you know what? I can do my own thing too. Because I look back in that period of time, and that was the most, pardon the expression, fertile time of my life in terms of creativity and coming up with pitches and concepts. It was all like in the mid to late 90s where I did a ton of, came up with all these concepts, and then over
I
time,
mean, your
I
kids
fleshed
were
them out.
born back then, so it's pretty fertile.
yeah. You and
Well,
and
think
you
about
got
Black and White
children
came
to
out
show
in the
that.
mid '90s, and so did she. So Billy was doing it, and so was I. For me, the big thing was like after I got fired from Marvel, I couldn't stand the idea of going back to comic books. So I talked to Pamela, and I took 2 years off, and I had an agent, a Hollywood agent, so I could create things and then I could shop them. So I had that door open now.
How did you make a living?
Well, I would do commissions, cons, things like that, just odd things. But most of
You
it,
worked on X-Men in the early 90s, Billy.
Yeah, that's right. I apologize.
I banked it. Yeah, I banked it myself. That's where, like, to Pamela's credit, she was like, "Sure, we'll suck it up for 2 years, and you can do these things." And that's where Chrono Mechanics came from. It came from that time and stuff like that. So, I just couldn't stand the idea of going back for a page rate. And especially the way Marvel let me go, saying I'd never work there again, and just all that crap. I was just destroyed. And so and I never went back to Marvel. I told this story to Dan DiDio, and Dan was like, "Come on back." He goes, "I'll give you a raise and everything." So I was like, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I came back to DC after that 2 years. But also the cool thing about Dan is, like, I was crossing paths with all those, like Jeff Johns and those guys, because Warner Brothers, Kids WB, Cartoon Network, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys were always hanging out there. They were doing the same thing. They were pitching and stuff, so they knew I was doing it as well. So, I think Dan understood, what was going on, and appreciated the fact, that I had made a stand with Marvel, and then I was trying to do my own thing, with the creator-owned stuff. But yeah, I thought it was great. You know how, like, Aaron, you were saying the 90s was kind of freeing. Like, for me, it was like I've never had that experience before where I could just create. You know what I mean? I mean, there was financial worry. Your wife's kind of like, "How are we going to pay the bills?" All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're just like, I don't have any restrictions. My imagination could just go crazy. So, do you want to do another round? It's already we're an hour and a half into this. We can.
I want to throw out just real quickly a little piece of irony, because we're talking about pitching things.
Yeah.
And when I was still working I was doing What the, right? That was the only comic work I was doing was for Marvel. So this was like 1990. I pitched to Marvel a Hulk series where Hulk got abducted and went to an alien planet and became a gladiator.
You're kidding, right?
I am not kidding.
Wow.
And it went nowhere. And then I end up drawing at least half of Planet Hulk. It was very familiar.
Bro,
Very familiar.
Wow, that came full circle. Are you serious?
Yeah, and Aaron got no credit for it, so
Yeah,
he's
but I
happy.
did work on it.
Boy, that's
See, that's another thing about working for somebody else is a lot of times you get ripped off.
That is
some of these
terrible.
pitches you can rework. Like
Yeah.
I pitched a Hulk one called The Bunker, and it's a straight up horror tale. You remember the early Hulk stories where Rick used to have to lock the Hulk in this bunker at night.
Yeah.
And then, it was like, I think in Hulk #3, you see Rick, like, trying to fall asleep, and he's leaning up against that stone wall with the piston behind it. And the Hulk is there, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. And that's how it ends. And I thought it would be really cool if if the Hulk busted out of that and the power was out, and now you've got this raging, monster in there, and Rick is in the dark, and so I decided, I pitched it and they liked it, and it just never went anywhere. But I'm going to repurpose that.
That's a great idea, and it's funny because didn't the Hulk used to? He only he like changed it at night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He became the Hulk at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wasn't there
like
a
a
Geiger
werewolf
counter in those early ones too? Like, oh, you hear the Geiger counter or something, or no?
No, just in that first one, I think.
Just the first one, okay.
Yeah, it was sort of like a timing dramatic device.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. Okay. F them art. They don't deserve any of you. That's right.
That's right. Screw them all.
But I had a this is a real quick one. I called it Dashboard Jesus. Okay.
Called it what?
Was just Dashboard Jesus. The plastic Jesus that you put on your dashboard. And so it was just a short, and it was something because the thing is, like, cable, like there was what was it? Something Ask a Ninja. There were like these little cable shows. And remember that girl that she was really an actress, but she would do these like videos on YouTube, and she'd just talk from her bedroom, and she'd sit on the edge of her bed, just tell you about her day and stuff. And then it turned out like she was an actress. And then there was Ask a Ninja, and there were these like shows, but they were just like little cable shows. So I was thinking something I could do, and it would be called Dashboard Jesus. And so it opens up, and you see there's only one camera, so I could have filmed it. I could have done it myself. So the camera is like from the back seat of a car, and it's just on the Dashboard Jesus. But we open up, everything is completely black, right? So then you kind of hear, oh, and then you just see light kind of coming up. And then you see the Dashboard Jesus kind of come into focus, and the light is on the Dashboard Jesus, right? But you realize it's in a garage, and this is a car. It's not really Jesus, right? And so this old couple, you see the garage, and the camera, you'll be able to see the rear view. Keep that in mind, and you'll be able to see the two shoulders of the guy riding shotgun and the driver, right? And maybe part of the dashboard, but really just the window, and it's mostly focused on the Dashboard Jesus. So that's important to remember, because that's where all the humor comes from. Okay, so the old couple's driving, right? And it's just kind of like a series of misadventures that happen, right? So then you have like this gangbanger comes over, it's like, get out of the car. He points a gun, and you just see like the gun come into the car. So like I said, the camera never moves. It's always stationary. And so they're like, oh. And so they get out of the car. So then this guy gets into the car. And so then he's like, he's going to drive it to Mexico to a chop shop, right? So he drives it to Mexico, but then he gets pulled over by cops. So he gets in a high-speed chase. And so it's just like a series of these like misadventures that happen. And then eventually the car gets impounded. The couple comes back. They get their car back, and then they drive it into the garage at the end of the day. And so then the garage door comes down, and then it goes black. So it starts the same way it ended, and we called it Dashboard Jesus. And it was just like a short little fun thing. And I remember, I forget, there was Seth Green, and then I forget the other guy at Robot Chicken. And I was talking to that guy, not Seth Green, but the other guy. And he was the wizard guy.
Matt? Was it Matt?
I think so. Yeah, they did the Migo, whatever that was.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He was a good guy.
Those guys are funny. They're really funny. And so I just like talking to you guys, I pitched it. He goes, that's really good. And I said, so you want to buy it? He goes, that's not how we work here. And I go, well, how do you work? And he goes, it's basically like a pit of death, right? So we get a bunch of writers in, the first week of every month, and then they just pitch. They just pitch ideas. And so we get to choose whichever ideas, and those will be made for the show. And so I'm like, okay. He goes, well, we're going to do one this week. So, you're welcome to come. I'm like, okay, cool. And so then he goes, I just have to warn you that I think Scrubs was the show of the day. And so that'll give you a kind of a date for, when I was doing this stuff. And he goes, we have all kinds of like A-list writers that come in and pitch these things. And I said, oh shit.
Mm.
And I told him, I go, I have one idea. And he goes,
Good.
I got one idea. And he goes, well, you know, you're still welcome, you know, but just know these guys are pretty damn good. So I never took him up on his offer, but it was interesting I always think like you can waste their time. You know, these are important people. You waste 15 minutes, 20 minutes of their time. And so, yeah, I always thought that was a win. You know what I mean? Like if
Right.
you can get these guys to pay attention to you, kind of like what you were saying, Graham, you know, getting into that office and pitching those toys. Like you just feel like you won already just getting into that meeting, you know? So
it's a great experience, you know, so.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was a lot of. Go ahead.
A Spider-Man story that I loved that never went anywhere called The Science Club. And it was about Peter has to go back to a high school reunion and he gets together with the Science Club. And those are all the geeks that he was part of when he was in high school. But now, you know, one of them is like the top engineer from Microsoft. One of the guys, you know, they all have these incredible jobs. And, you know, Peter is Spider-Man, but he can't tell anybody he's Spider-Man. So as they're telling him about extolling their virtues, he's thinking back at the time he had to fight the Lizard or the time he had to fight Dr. Octopus. So there's these flashbacks and stuff. And so at the end of it, he feels like just an asshole. And his fellow Science Club members think he's the biggest loser of the group because he never amounted to anything. And then Mary Jane walks up and
Winner,
this is my
winner.
wife, Mary Jane, and they just lose their shit because they're still geeks. And
The
he's got a
nerds, yeah.
supermodel wife, and then all of a sudden, in their eyes, he's the coolest guy in town. You know?
That's a great
Yeah.
pitch.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
I have one. I'm going to make a confession here. Is that I've always tried to be a good person.
No.
But no, honestly. But at one time I wasn't. And it was shortly after my oldest brother, if you guys ever see on Facebook, he was killed by a drunk driver.
Right.
Mhm.
I was in 4th grade, I think 5th grade, and I was really angry. And it happened around the time that this girl moved to town. She was a foster child in our grade. Her name was Anne Marie Harvey. And
Oh, I know
was
this story.
looking for, and what I did to this girl, and literally turned the entire class against her. We created an anti-Anne Marie hate club, or you know, like, and we would just. I remember,
You're the hate monger.
yeah, I was a real piece of shit, so. At one time, I remember we were coming off the bus and one of the girls was walking and Anne Marie's just sitting on the bus getting ready to go off. The girl just grabs her head and smashes it against the side of the window of the bus. Like, and I remember her just going like this. And another time, me and my friend were walking and she was walking towards us to the school. And she's like, no. We just started kicking her. Right. I'm being really honest here. And then it just turned around on me. And then she moved away. I didn't know she was a foster kid or anything like that. But so I've been trying to find her forever, for 25 years, and I've not been able to find her. I've reached out to everybody who went to school with us. No one can find her. So I pitched a story to Dan, and he was really moved by it, and he just couldn't find a place to put it, wanted to do it because it's not necessarily a full issue. It could be an 8-page story. And it's a story, it's called Batman. It's a Batman story, Finding Anne Marie Harvey. And he's like, we could do it when we do another Halloween special because we can make it work with that. I'm like, yeah, you can. So I come up with this story, and it's Halloween in Gotham City, and you see Bruce Wayne finds her. He's like, I found her, right? And he walks up, and he ding dong, and this little girl opens the door with a bucket of candy, and she's like, oh, and she's a spitting image of this girl, Anne Marie Harvey. And it's Bruce Wayne, and he's like, is your mother here? And she's like, yeah, hang on, Mom. And this girl comes walking, and she stops for a second, but then she comes up, and he's like, hello, I don't know if you're any, but I'm Bruce Wayne, and I just want to apologize. I've been trying to find you forever, and I want to apologize because when I went back to school, they'd put me in an orphanage initially after my parents were killed. And I was so angry, and you were the other new kid. And I needed an outlet for his rage. And he started this thing like I did, literally picked on her. And he's like, and I want you to know that I've set up an endowment for your daughter for school, for her to go to college. She's never going to have to pay. She lives in a shitty part of Gotham. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for you, that if you'd like, I have a job for you at Wayne Industries. We could set you up here. I want to take care of you because I understand that your husband passed away or you're divorced, whatever. And he's spilling out all this stuff. And then she's like, I'm sorry, whatever you're going through, Mr. Wayne, but I don't remember a thing. I don't remember what the hell I don't remember anything you're talking about. He's like, no, it was me, Bruce. And she's like, you seem to have a lot of issues, but trust me, I don't even remember any of this. Please, I hope you find peace. I don't need anything from you. We are fine. My daughter and I are fine. You must be confusing me with someone else. Right. And then he's like, I'm so sorry. Whatever. I apologize. And Bruce gets in his Lamborghini, whatever, and drives off. And she shuts the door and she just breaks down and slides down at the end of the door. Right.
Wow.
So then it opened up with Martha Wayne's pearl falling. That's how the story opened up. Then you just see the pearl fall again, and it bounces into the hands of a girl. It's a white bouncy ball, and she bounces it back to her mother, right? And there they are in the dingiest, shittiest part of Gotham City in front of their apartment building, and she's playing ball with her daughter, right? At night under the street light because her daughter wants to play outside. And then the camera pans up higher and higher, and then all of a sudden you see Bruce as Batman looming overhead, watching down. He said, I pledged my life to protect the 6 million souls of Gotham City, how many people, whatever. And he goes, but I know there's one person that I'll never have to ever worry about protecting, and that's Anne Marie Harvey.
That's cool.
So you were a horrible person to Anne Marie Harvey.
Yeah.
And then you tried to monetize that.
I did, yeah.
Oh, man, Billy, geez.
I know, right? And if he found her, it's not like he was going to go, and I got this royalty check for the story I wrote that was inspired by you. I want to share it with you.
Of this story. This is awesome.
All I can think about is,
he's like, good. Now I'm going to sue you for the.
Yeah. What is that Adam Sandler movie where he calls all these people that he effed over, and then the guy, what's the actor's name? He's got his enemies.
Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi. And he just crosses out Adam Sandler's name and he just starts mindlessly putting on the.
Yeah, remember he had it on the board. It said "People to Kill," and a couple of them were crossed off. And next one was Happy Gilmore, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was his enemies list.
Gilmore, whatever his name was. That's right. What song was he listening to? Like the Carpenters or something?
Crying Game. I don't know. Some. Yeah.
He back and puts on his.
That's so good. Well, I want to let you guys know, had a ball with everybody, all the bros, everybody in the chat. You guys were great. Thank you for the super chat. Also, just to remind you, all of us have books that are live Indiegogo. I think Andy's got to sign up for Lilith. And so all those are in the description. So we got Graham's. Is it Return to Monster Island? I always forget which one. It's
Escape
Monster Island. They got
already. Now they got to escape.
They got to escape it. And so we got Wraith of God 3. We got Lilith sign up, and then we got Gate Crashers, She, which is Billy's book, and also
if I can share real quick, just super quick.
It's always
Gate Crasher pages to draw. It's a 52-page story.
Wow, you draw small.
Hi guys.
See, I've got
See ya.
I've got one page, the last page to do, which I'll do last, and then just 4 more pages to go, and we're done.
Let's go to the checklist.
4 more pages.
All right.
One of them's Popeye.
Super organized. And also, you guys, I have Black and White. So Black and White Volume 3, Sins of the Father. We have 34, 534, 2 34s. We could easily get that to 35. 491 backers. So we're only 9 backers away from 500, which is pretty killer. Here is the video. Woo!
So awesome, bro. Looks great. Bless you.
Thank you.
So we are celebrating 30 years of Black and White. Came out in 1994 through Image Comics. And we have Sins of the Father. This is volume 3. So this is the first part of a 2-part story, which is the Sins of the Father story arc. So we are going to get into Reed Blackett's past, his MI10 affiliation, his father, just all the backstory stuff that we've teased in volume 1 and 2. We're going to get into with Sins of the Father. We're going to have epic robot battles. We got Supernatural. We got Juju, Valdoon Priestess. We got Lord Faken, the immortal Lord Faken. And also, just like last campaign, we got 2 books. So we got all ages book here, which is Black and White High Octane. This is issue 2, done by the great Pedro Eng. And we are finishing that book up as we speak. So that is almost done. Black and White 3 we're about 30 pages into it. So we're about the halfway mark on that. So everything is coming along great. We got 4 covers to choose from, A, B. B is the Lord Faken and Juju cover. So we got Supernatural and Sci-Fi there with A and B. We got the great Carlo Barberi, mainstream artist. I think he's working on Spawn right now. He lent his talents on this cover. And of course, CG's own John Malin on the D cover. So you guys, there's plenty. What's that?
Of course, it's the D cover.
John is on the D.
Exactly.
Double D cover.
It all came to plan. Yeah, that was exactly the way it was orchestrated. So here's a better version or view of the cover there with Lord Faken and Juju, the Supernatural. We got a better image of the Carlo Barberi.
Nice.
And of course, the John Malin cover here. So you guys, there's all kinds of stuff. We got volumes 1, 2, and 3 available with this campaign. We got issues 1 and 2, very, very limited, of the High Octane Adventures and the 4 covers. You can get the John Malin cover as an add-on. So I think you can with the High Octane books as well.
Who colored the Malin cover?
That's the same guy that colored all these others. So it's my colorist.
I was curious because there's a consistency to it, and they all look great.
Thanks, Brian Mag. I just call him Mag. I can't say his last name, but he's the guy that did volume 2, and he's doing volume 3 as well. And he's just look. I mean, this is Kyle Ritter doing this, the covers for me, but Brian is doing all the interior stuff.
The artwork on this, Art, I always say it, but it's so true. The artwork on this is just phenomenal. You're just doing tremendous work.
Agree.
No shortage of detail.
Yeah, coming from you guys really, really means a lot. I have a lot of respect for you guys and what you're doing. So it does mean a lot. So if you guys like what you see, Black and White, go back it today, pick up a copy of everybody's book here. These things aren't forever. So these books are in demand for a limited amount of time. And usually that's the only time that you can get these books. So back today. And whoa, what is this? What is this?
A super chat.
Yeah. What? Crazy Cat.
Hello, Crazy Cat.
Yeah. You know what? I should be paying Crazy Cat because he's got a wrench and he's been working. He's been working it. So did anyone see the movie about Wonder Woman's creator, Professor Marsden, and the Wonder Women? It's
I knew about it, but I haven't seen it.
I think I did. I didn't like it, I don't think.
That was kind of he was kind of a perv, right?
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fucking weirdo.
He
He was
created the
amazing.
lie
Created
detector,
the lie
guys.
detector, yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
trust the guy that creates that. I'll tell you that.
No, I think it makes interesting
Used
stories
it on
because you know the
purpose.
lasso
I'm a
of
liar.
truth, the lasso of truth, and all that stuff. So you know, but then there's some weirdness underneath it. So
Yeah. Well,
Nobody
you have to
ever
look at all
killed
those
it.
covers. They're very bondagey.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Those
yeah.
Wonder Woman books.
well, they said he was really into that, and wasn't there like a third party? There was another woman that would kind
Yep.
of
Yeah, that's right.
hang
They
out
went
with he and his
another
wife.
chick, like a young girl, like his college student. Like he was a
They,
professor.
she
at
was
college.
like the nanny.
Yeah.
And
you know,
didn't Wortham use a bunch of those covers in his
probably,
Oh,
yeah.
on the hill
yeah.
there?
Use it against us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Howell, thank you so much. 87 likes. You guys all hit that like button before you exit. The Bros is a traveling circus. Each one of us hosts every week. So next week is
Billy.
Billy.
yeah. So
Billy,
next,
don't be a hero.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm thinking of what to do. I'm even thinking talk to you guys. I'd love to have the Mrs. Bros come back and have the ladies join us and hang out with the gals. But we'll talk. And you guys talk to your better halves.
I can bring it up. I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
Just have fun with them, with the ladies.
It's
Yeah.
a logistical nightmare, but
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll give it a whirl, right? We'll give it a shot, and if not, we'll
give it
just
a
come up with
college
something
try.
like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like comic artists who influenced us.
You know, like that scene on Miracle on 34th Street where that guy is like, he's going to have Santa live with him. And he goes, I'll pitch it to my wife, but first, I'm going to give her a couple martinis.
Yeah.
So he loosens his wife up and she's like, hello, John.
We would love to have him stay with us. She's eating the onion.
And then the phone's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'll do for the show, Billy. I'll get my wife good and schnocker and get her to say yes. No, it'll be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, Bros, like I said, it's a traveling circus, and each week we host one of the episodes, and we all have YouTube channels. So go over to everybody's YouTube channel. If you haven't subbed, do so today. And thanks again for hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. To
Art,
all
can I
my
just say
co-hosts.
something? I just want to say one thing. You're talking about the campaigns and all, and I just want to let everybody know who's watching and who's in the chat that the cheapest price you're going to get on any of these books in the campaign is right now while they're live. Because if any of them go on sale in the on the individual company websites, the prices go up. These prices are set for the backers, the backers that make this thing happen. So you get the best deals, you get all the goodies, and you get the lowest price. So just think about that, because that's an incentive to hop on board now rather than wait till later.
Yeah, and as far as goodies, you guys, it's like stickers, trading cards,
Right.
mini posters, all kinds of cool stuff that you get along with your book. I have to take this though, because I think Paul has asked me this question a couple times, and I apologize for not getting back to you, Paul. But how's Black and White Volume 3 going? We are 30 pages into it, so we're halfway done with it. It's progressing nicely. I'm happy with all the pages. So yeah, I think we're going to update probably this week. So I'll show some new pages to show some progress. And if you haven't checked the updates, there's a lot of cool artwork and stuff like that I've been putting up on the updates on the Black and White Volume 3. So go check those out, Paul. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you next week on Billy Tucci's channel. So let me see. I got to see if I can do this. All right, here we go.
Button.
We're so proud of Art.
Bye.
What's in the box?
All you gotta do is push the end button. It's right there.
Okay. All
Just
right.
hit end.
I didn't know it would end on its own. Okay. There.